So Lean Six Sigma is all about two things. It's really about making things better and improving our culture. It's looking at how do you make things more efficient, how do you make them lean, how do you make work simpler. The other idea is how do you reduce variability in a process or in a service. So let's say you have a service that takes anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks to deliver to a customer. From our point of view, that may be all right. From the customer's point of view, they're probably not too happy when you say, well, we'll serve you in 2 days to 2 weeks from now. So the idea is if you can reduce the variability and have a more consistent service, they'll probably be happier than if you were to say, well, we can serve you anywhere from today to sometime down the road.
The way we fell into Lean Six was it really started with the Board of Supervisors. One of the board members said, Bill, I'd like you to look into this. And I thought, yes. And then I was so busy, I forgot all about it. And then later I'm at a meeting and I see a lady who I know from a hospital, and she's now working for Kern Medical. And she is on the lead of their Lean Six team. And I'm like, huh. And so the bell's starting to go off a little bit. And so I called her the next week. I'm a big believer to constantly be moving forward, constantly be looking for the next opportunity. And so I really just talked with her about what they were doing with Lean Six. The next month, I am up in Sacramento for a monthly meeting. I befriend every new director. I try to make that network. And one of the new directors from Ventura County needed a ride back to the hotel. On the ride back, I find out she's a master black belt in Lean Six Sigma. We spent 2 hours sitting there in the car in the summer, luckily with the air conditioning on, talking Lean Six. By the next day, I'd ordered 2 books, started our process of looking how to move forward into this area, started validating and vetting how we're going to do it. Within the next 2 months, the Deputy Director, Dr. Brad Cloud, and I had gone to Ventura, met with her Lean Six Sigma system, met with people of their county because they have a county-wide Lean Six Sigma system, continued to validate this, and that literally was the beginning of us working with Kern Medical, Ventura County, now San Mateo County as well, and looking at developing a Lean Six Sigma for our department, but we're now even looking to do it for the entire county. I've worked for a lot of organizations, and organizations develop their own culture. And one of the hardest things to do is to change your own culture and change your own processes from within. And so you can spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars on consultants, or you could develop processes that actually make an external, validated process part of your internal process. So that's where Lean Six Sigma comes in, is that Lean Six gives us the opportunity to develop a system of change and evaluation to improve our processes, our efficiencies, be client-centered, and work from the staff's perspective and a hands-on perspective, but still using external metrics and systems that have been validated in other places.
They're actually able to go and make changes throughout the entire department. So I mean, 1 week or one period of time, the Lean Six team may be working with our fleet services to work on cars. A few months later, we may be working with HR to make changes on their EPR process. Or you may be working with finance a few months later and finding ways of making their processes more efficient. So you're all over the place, but it really gives us the freedom to make changes everywhere as opposed to when we can find time. Now, the other thing about Lean Six Sigma is that it empowers our employees. It gives them a voice. It gives them a role in the decision-making process. So in traditional management, you kind of have this hierarchy, right? This pyramid. At the top, you have your decision makers. They're the ones who tell the employees, okay, this is what we're going to do in order to move our organization further. The employees may like that idea, they may not. But in that model, they don't really feel like they have a voice sometimes. They may feel like they're not playing a part in that decision making. They could say something like, well, why don't we do things this way? And that's kind of what Lean Six Sigma does, is that instead of having that pyramid, it kind of turns it more into a round table discussion where you have your decision makers asking your employees, okay, you guys are the ones who are closest to the work. You guys are the ones who probably have an idea of how to make it better. What are some ideas that you have? And at that point, the employees, they feel like they have a voice, because they do have a voice, and they play a role in making a decision, and they feel empowered, they feel engaged, and ultimately, they're the ones that probably have the best solutions since they're closest to the work.
There was an example of another, I believe it was a hospital in their Lean6 developments, and there was a guy who worked in the mailroom, and he was noticing that he was pushing hard copy mail back and forth between different departments for hard copy signatures and that sort of thing, and it was basically a waste of time and effort and energy. He called the CEO, and he said, hey, I don't think you know what's going on here, but this is what's happening. He did it because everyone in the organization is trained and looking at Lean6. Everyone has an ownership into what makes the whole company run more effectively and efficiently. And that's for our clients, for our staff, for the dollars we need to spend and how we manage them and then what we could use them. And they actually made a change in that company that started with a call from a person who works in the mailroom.
Lean 6 Sigma, they have levels of knowledge, if you will. It's kind of like karate. You know, you start off with your white belts, which it's literally called white belt, yellow belt, green belt, black belt, master black belt. Now, the one that's really important to us right now in this current period is our green belt certification. We just learned how 5 of us just became green belt certified. We went through 6-month training. We learned a process called DMAIC, which is all about defining problems, measuring the baseline, analyzing the root causes of the problem, implementing solutions, and then putting in control measures to make sure that those solutions stay in place and that we don't go back to the way things were. So it's really important that we have that because knowledge is power, and the more knowledge that we have, the more changes that we can make in our department for the better.
Those within a system of structure that are doing a project are trained to about the yellow belt status. If you're going to run a project, you're going to be about green belt or higher. And what that really means is that you've been trained. Like when I go to the mechanic, I kind of like to see that they have a certification and that they've been trained to a standard. I like to think when I get on an airplane that the pilot has been trained to a standard and that standard is rigorous. And it's not like, oh, I hope we have a good pilot. No, I want to know that this person is going to bring this plane up and land this plane down. That's what Lean Six Sigma belt structures are, is they give a standard.
So the green belts are really the ones who facilitate the meetings with the staff. They're the ones who have a good amount of knowledge. They can fly the plane, but as you start to get more experience, get more knowledge, you move to the black belt level, the master black belt level, then you can start leading bigger projects, you can start making bigger impacts, you can start simplifying more work, saving more time, saving more money.
You know, it's funny you ask why do I care, what's the buy-in? And I think the real answer is, as we move forward with Lean 6, people will be like, the not caring would be not doing it. Because if you get that engaged in something, who's not worked someplace where you thought, what in the heck are we doing here? Why are we doing that? That's a waste of time. That's a waste of energy. That doesn't help anybody. That's just a barrier. But because of the way most systems are set up, I don't have the influence to change things up or down the line. So I can go my whole career thinking, why are we doing this? But what if we empowered people? What if we gave everyone a voice, from our clients to our staff? We talk about giving our clients voices. I don't think we talk enough about giving our staff voices. What if we did that to the point where, and is every idea good? No, I'm not going to say every question is a good question too. There are stupid questions, by the way, but it's important to ask them because it's not stupid to the person, and sometimes the explanation to the answer is what buys them in. And so they're like, no, okay, I understand why we're doing that. But if we make people challenge and make things better and make it part of their mission, then I think people don't think about should I or shouldn't I. They think, well, of course, that where I work, we all get a chance to make things better. If something's not right, we all get a chance to have influence to that. I can get that in the hopper and we can get that resolved or fixed. And what actually happens is you don't need a big projects to fix a lot of things. You start empowering people and they start fixing things that you don't even know of as the director. And then sometimes, and this has already happened, people will stop me in the hall and go, hey, you know what we did? And they'll tell me something they did that didn't require a project, didn't require a committee, they just are empowered to make it better.